Nobody is attracted to desperation. Nobody is drawn to someone who is clinging, needing, hoping, without confidence. That energy pushes people away. But when you shift, when you become certain that not only is it possible for him to come back, but that you are the prize, that you are someone worth coming back to, everything changes. You stop overanalyzing, you stop checking your phone every 5 minutes, you stop wondering if he's thinking about you, because deep down you know he will. And when you carry that certainty, it rewires the entire dynamic between you, because people are drawn to confidence. They are drawn to those who walk through life with a sense of purpose, with a knowing that they are enough. When you have certainty, you don't chase, you attract. You don't need validation because you already believe in your own value. And that belief is contagious. It creates a pull so strong that the other person starts to feel it even from a distance. Certainty isn't just about convincing yourself. It's about stepping into a new version of you. A version that doesn't need to beg or plead or prove anything. A version that simply knows their worth. And when you step into that, the world and the people in it respond to you in a completely different way. Energy is everything. It's not just in what you say, it's in how you say it. It's in your body language, your tone, your presence, and the way you carry yourself when you walk into a room. It's the invisible force that determines whether people are drawn to you or feel the need to pull away. And right now, if you're in a place of wanting someone back, the energy you're operating from is lack. Lack is a state of need. It's when your thoughts revolve around what you don't have, what's missing, what you've lost. It's when you check your phone obsessively, hoping for a message. It's when you overanalyze the past, trying to pinpoint the exact moment everything changed. It's when your emotions are dictated by him, whether he responds, whether he watches your story, whether he gives you any sign that he still cares. It's a constant loop of wondering, waiting, and feeling powerless. And here's the hard truth. When you live in lack, you radiate desperation. Even if you don't say a word, even if you try to play it cool, he feels it. People are incredibly intuitive when it comes to energy. They can sense when someone is confident and in control, and they can sense when someone is emotionally dependent on them for validation. Lack pushes people away because it makes them feel trapped, pressured, and responsible for your happiness. And no one wants to feel that. But the moment you shift from lack to power, the game changes. Power is the complete opposite of neediness. Power doesn't wait for a text. Power doesn't overanalyze every little interaction. Power doesn't sit in bed at night scrolling through old messages, wondering what could have been done differently. Power moves forward. Power evolves. Power recognizes that you are the source of your own energy, not him. Shifting into power means reclaiming control over your emotions. It means deciding that your happiness isn't dependent on one person's actions or decisions. It means recognizing that you are the prize, that you are the one who brings value to the table. And when you step into that mindset, everything about you changes. Your posture straightens, your voice becomes more certain, your presence feels different. You stop seeking validation because you are validation. When you shift into power, something incredible happens. You become magnetic because people are drawn to those who are self-sufficient. They are drawn to those who radiate confidence, not because they are trying to prove something, but because they know their worth. When you move from lack to power, he starts to feel your absence in a different way. Instead of feeling like he has control over you, he starts wondering why your energy has changed. He starts noticing that you're not chasing, that you're not reacting the way he expected. And that's when curiosity kicks in. That's when he starts questioning his own feelings. Power isn't about playing games. It's not about pretending you don't care when you do. It's about actually shifting your focus from him back to yourself. It's about taking all the energy you were giving away and using it to become stronger, more independent, and more fulfilled in your own life. It's about stepping into the version of you that is so full of life, so focused on growth, that he can't help but feel the shift. Because the moment you stop waiting, stop needing, stop obsessing, that's the moment you become irresistible. That's the moment you become something he can't ignore. Because nothing is more attractive than someone who doesn't need anyone but chooses who gets to be in their life. And that choice, that's where true power lies. Your mindset is the foundation of everything in your life. How you think, how you feel, how you act, and ultimately what you attract. And when it comes to relationships, there are two types of mindsets that determine your success: scarcity and abundance. These two perspectives shape your reality, and without even realizing it, you may be operating from a place that is keeping you stuck, making you feel powerless, and even pushing people away. Scarcity is the mindset of lack, of limitation, of fear. It's when you believe that love is rare, that good people are hard to find, that this one person is your only shot at happiness. It's when you feel like if you lose him, you lose everything. That belief alone is dangerous because it puts all the power in his hands. It makes you act out of desperation, out of fear, out of a place of needing to hold on. And the second you start to feel like you need someone, that's when you start making decisions that lower your value. You tolerate things you shouldn't. You suppress your feelings just to keep the peace. You overextend yourself to prove you're worthy of being chosen. You become someone who is constantly seeking rather than choosing. Scarcity makes you settle. It makes you think that if this relationship doesn't work out, you'll never find something this good again. It makes you think that no one else will love you the way he did, that you won't connect with anyone else the same way. But do you know what happens when you operate from that belief? You manifest that reality. You create a situation where you become so afraid of losing something that you cling to it, suffocate it, and end up losing it anyway. But the opposite of scarcity is abundance. And abundance changes everything. Abundance is the belief that there is always more. More love, more opportunity, more connection, more people who will be drawn to you. It's understanding that you are never limited to just one option, one person, one outcome. It's knowing with absolute certainty that no matter what happens, you will be okay. That your worth isn't determined by one relationship, that there are millions of people in this world, and the idea that only one person could ever love you, ever desire you, ever want to be with you is insane. When you step into an abundance mindset, you stop gripping so tightly to something that isn't serving you. You stop trying to control the outcome. You stop feeling like you have to win someone back, because deep down, you know that your happiness is not dependent on them. You become someone who is secure, confident, and at peace with the fact that if it's meant to be, it will be. And if it's not, that's okay, because there is more out there. Abundance doesn't mean you don't care. It doesn't mean you stop loving or wanting someone. It means you approach the situation from a place of strength, not fear. It means that instead of thinking, I have to get him back, or I'll never find this again, you shift to thinking, if he's meant to be in my life, he will be, but if not, I know something even better is waiting for me. That shift in thinking, it changes everything. When you stop acting out of scarcity, your entire energy changes. You're no longer trying to convince someone to love you. You're no longer afraid of being alone. You're no longer seeing this person as the only option, but rather as one option. And the crazy part, when you stop needing someone, they start needing you. When you stop chasing, they start noticing. When you fully embrace the idea that you are more than enough, that your happiness is not dependent on them, that you choose rather than cling, they start to feel the difference. People can sense when someone is coming from scarcity just like they can sense when someone is coming from abundance. Scarcity feels heavy, it feels desperate, it feels like pressure. But abundance feels free, it feels light, it feels like you don't need anyone to complete you, but you're open to the right person who adds to your life. That difference in energy is what separates those who are constantly chasing from those who are constantly attracted. Shifting from scarcity to abundance isn't just about thinking differently, it's about believing differently. It's about rewiring your entire perspective on love, relationships, and self-worth. It's about stepping into a mindset where you know that you deserve the best, that you don't have to settle, that you don't have to fear losing someone because the right person will always find their way back. And when you make that shift, not only does your relationship dynamic change, your entire life changes. People don't make decisions based on logic, they make them based on emotion. Every action a person takes, every decision they make, every response they give is driven by the way they feel in a given moment. And when it comes to relationships, emotions are everything. If you want someone to come back, if you want to rekindle something that feels lost, it's not about reasoning with them, convincing them, or explaining why they should return. It's about triggering the right emotions that make them want to return. Think about this. How many times have you made a decision not because it made the most sense, but because you felt something so strong that you had no choice? Maybe you stayed in a situation longer than you should have because of nostalgia. Maybe you took a risk because excitement overpowered your fear. Maybe you couldn't walk away from someone because of the way they made you feel, even when logic told you otherwise. That's how powerful emotions are. They override logic, they override circumstances, they drive action. Now let's apply this to getting someone back. If you try to appeal to logic, if you say things like, we had such a good relationship, we should try again, or you're making a mistake, we belong together, you're missing the point. Logic doesn't pull people in. Logic doesn't make the heart race. Logic doesn't create that pull that makes someone crave another person. But emotions do. Emotions bypass thought. They hit straight to the core. And when you understand how to trigger the right emotions, that's when everything changes. So what emotions make someone want to come back? Let's start with the most powerful ones. Nostalgia, curiosity, excitement, and desire. Nostalgia is one of the strongest emotional triggers there is. People don't miss people, they miss the feeling they had when they were with them. That's why a simple song can take you back in time. That's why a certain smell can bring back a rush of memories. That's why you can go months, even years, without thinking about someone, and suddenly one small thing reminds you of them, and that flood of emotion pulls you back in. If you want someone to feel drawn to you again, you don't need to convince them with words. You need to subtly remind them of the best emotions they experienced with you. The laughter, the thrill, the moments that made them feel alive. Curiosity is another emotional trigger that drives action. People are naturally drawn to mystery, to things they can't fully figure out, to things that leave them wondering. If someone feels like they already know everything about you, if they feel like they can predict your every move, there's no intrigue, no pull. But when you change, when you evolve, when you stop reacting the way they expect, suddenly they start paying attention. They start wondering. They start wanting to know more. And the moment someone starts wondering about you again, the door to reconnection begins to open. Excitement is a massive emotional driver. People don't just want comfort in relationships. They want stimulation. They want that rush, that spark, that feeling of unpredictability that makes life feel more alive. Think about when you first connected with this person. Wasn't there a sense of adventure, of possibility, of something new and exciting? Over time, relationships often lose that energy, and when they do, people start associating them with routine instead of passion. But when you reintroduce excitement, whether that's through rediscovering your own passions, doing things you've never done before, or showing a side of yourself they haven't seen in a while, you reignite something inside them. You make them feel something different than they expect, and that shift in energy alone can spark renewed attraction. Desire is another major trigger. And let's be clear, desire isn't just about physical attraction. It's about emotional magnetism. It's about being someone that others want to be around, someone who has a presence that is undeniable. Desire happens when someone starts to see you in a new light, when they recognize that you are not the same person they left behind. It happens when you exude confidence, when you carry yourself with certainty, when you embody the kind of energy that makes people stop and pay attention. Because the truth is, people don't desire what they can have at any moment. They desire what feels special, what feels slightly out of reach, what feels like it has a certain edge to it. But just as there are emotions that pull people back, there are also emotions that push people away. Guilt, pressure, sadness, and neediness. If someone feels guilty, they don't feel inspired to return. They feel obligated. And obligation is never a long-term motivator. If they feel pressure, they withdraw. If they associate your presence with sadness or negativity, they avoid it. That's why if you want to rekindle something, you cannot base your interactions on these emotions. You have to focus on reigniting the spark, not reminding them of what went wrong. When you master emotional triggers, you stop trying to convince people with words and you start influencing them with feelings. You stop chasing and you start attracting. You stop hoping and you start creating. Because when someone feels something deeply, when they experience a shift inside themselves that they can't explain but can't ignore, they are pulled toward it, they have to act on it, and that's when the dynamic shifts in your favor. The law of attraction isn't just some abstract, feel-good concept. It's a force that governs every single aspect of your life, including your relationships. Whether you realize it or not, you are constantly attracting people, experiences, and circumstances that match the energy you put out. What you believe, what you focus on, what you emotionally invest in, all of it shapes the reality that unfolds around you. And when it comes to relationships, this law is working 24/7, either bringing you what you truly desire or reinforcing patterns that keep you stuck. Most people don't understand that they are manifesting their relationship outcomes all the time. They think attraction is about external factors, looks, charm, saying the right things at the right time. But it goes so much deeper than that. The real attraction happens at an energetic level. It's about the vibe you radiate, the beliefs you carry, the subconscious signals you send out every second of every day. You don't attract what you want, you attract what you are. And that distinction is everything. If you're constantly thinking, he's slipping away, I'll never get him back, he's moving on without me, what kind of energy do you think you're sending out? You're operating from a place of lack, of fear, of desperation. And what happens when you send out those signals? The universe reflects them right back at you. You start to notice more signs that confirm your worst fears. Maybe he stops reaching out. Maybe he starts pulling away even further. Maybe you see something on social media that makes you spiral into doubt and anxiety. But it's not because the universe is punishing you, it's because you are in alignment with that negative reality, so you keep attracting more of it. On the other hand, when you shift into an abundance mindset, when you start believing, I am worthy, I am magnetic, I am the kind of person people want to be around. If he is meant to come back, he will, but I am not dependent on that outcome. Your energy shifts instantly. Suddenly, you're not desperate, you're not chasing, you're not clinging to something that feels out of reach. Instead, you become the kind of person who is naturally attractive because confidence, self-worth, and emotional stability are the ultimate magnets. Think about the people you are drawn to in life. Are they the ones who are needy, anxious, constantly overanalyzing every interaction? Or are they the ones who are secure, who walk through life with a sense of certainty, who radiate a kind of effortless charisma? The answer is obvious. You are drawn to people who don't need you to complete them, because deep down we are all wired to be attracted to strength, to self-sufficiency, to those who embody certainty. The law of attraction in relationships isn't about forcing someone back into your life. It's about becoming the version of yourself that naturally draws them back, or in some cases draws in someone even better. It's about shifting from fear to trust, from scarcity to abundance, from desperation to certainty. The second you stop acting from a place of need, the entire energy dynamic changes. You are no longer giving off signals that say, please pick me, please don't leave me. Instead, your energy says, I am already complete, I am already whole, I choose who gets to be in my life. When you adopt this mindset, something powerful happens. People start to notice you in a different way. They start to feel your absence not as a void, but as a mystery. They start to wonder what changed, why you're not chasing, why you're not reacting the way they expected. And that curiosity, that intrigue, that is what draws them back. Not because you forced it, but because you created the energetic conditions for it to happen naturally. But the law of attraction doesn't just work with thoughts, it works with actions. You can't just think, I am worthy, while simultaneously checking your phone every 5 minutes to see if he texted. You can't just say, I am abundant, while stalking his social media and feeling jealous of everything he does. Your behavior has to match your beliefs.